movie review. Terminal Station from 1953, directed by Vittorio De Sica, based on the story Terminal Station, written by Cesare Zavattuni, who was responsible for the screenplay in collaboration with Luigi Giarini and Giorgio Prosperi, and originated from work by Truman Capote. Jennifer Jones plays Mary Forbes, Montgomery Clift plays Giovanni Doria, and Gino Cervi plays the police commissioner. A very small cast, and I'll try and make some sense of a review here. This was later, Terminal Station, that is, later made into a film called The Indiscretion of an American Wife. This was an American-Italian collaboration effort, and regarded as one of the founders of neorealism, and it was sort of jazzed up a bit with David Selznick on production, and 50 odd years after the film's original troubles, the two versions of the same story effectively, and it's somewhat confusing really, but the second effort was basically meant to Americanize the movie to make some money for Selznick, who was very much into money. Okay, so what have we got anyway with regard to, I'm reading parts of this. Selznick and De Sica were past their prime in 1953, but they got together on this project. Selznick had produced Gone with the Wind a few years earlier, and Terminal, or Indiscretion, would be Selznick's second to last picture. The sequel was still seen as an innovator, and so Terminal Station bears the most reasonable resemblance to 1945's Brief Encounter, another story about the breakup of a forbidden love affair between a conscientiously proper middle-class wife and the man who craves companionship but ultimately has to be denied because the weight of obligation falls too heavily on the woman for their relationship to ever have a chance of standing on its own. Though the plight of the men in each film is not entirely ignored, the focus of attention and the audience's empathy rests squarely upon the leading women in both. This makes for an interesting counterpoint with Ugitzi, the previous film I reviewed in these series, which steers in on masculine concerns. Okay, so I think we've got a gist of what we're letting ourselves into. Rough outline anyway. Mary Forbes is a housewife from Philadelphia. She's visiting her sister and brother-in-law and nephew in Rome. Her husband has fairly insisted upon her making the journey, though his motives for sending her overseas for a time are never called into question. While there, Mary enters into a romantic, adulterous relationship with Giovanni, a university professor and son of an Italian father and American mother. Caution in the face of certain censorship and unwanted scandal preclude the possibility of full disclosure in the movie, but it's fairly apparent that the two have gone further in the way of intimacy than any spouse at that time would tolerate, And at the beginning of both films we see Mary struggling to communicate by telegram to her lover that she's heading back to the States on very short notice, and abruptly ending their affair. Before receiving any written updates from her, Giovanni shows up at the railway station where she's about to depart to make his final plea for her to stay with him, to set aside the commitments she's already made, and to embrace wholeheartedly the joys of love that the two of them have already sampled. What we find is that Mary is an attractive middle-class woman who's bought into the materialist and gender role, the expectations of her time, only to find herself disappointed at the resulting lack of passion. Though we never see her husband and only glimpse a photograph of her daughter near the very end, it seems clear enough that she's married a wealthy older man who probably began to lose interest in her as a person and doesn't provide anything near the degree of emotional implicitly sexual satisfaction she's discovered in her fling with Giovanni. For his part, Giovanni seems a bit young, naive and controlling, perhaps more enamoured of the mere idea of having this well-bred Americano as a memento of his conquest than he's able to admit to her or himself. His pleas to her to follow through on the words of love she voiced the night before are based on the affront to his ego that he might lose to a distant rival after all, though Giovanni makes a half-serious pitch for Mary's daughter Kathy to come home from Philadelphia to start a new life with them. Some of these other comments to her hint at a more turbulent future and a different set of frustrations that Mary would be exchanging for whatever she finds lacking in her life without it. Check it out for yourself. This pivotal clip shows Giovanni making his move. Okay. This movie appears to show the end at the beginning. I won't tell you what it is, but I've read a review or two, and that's what it appears to be. So be forewarned of this. As suggested, this version was to accommodate the American market, and that's illustrated by the dialogue where it appears there are far more people in Rome who speak English with an accent that's easy to understand than one would have led to have believed back post-war. After Giovanni finds out from his lover that she's leaving, he goes to the station and they see each other. They then go and see, and there's this classic phrase of treating him like a guidebook, which I mentioned earlier, and it's just sort of a scene of bewilderment, in as much that only 24 hours earlier she's been saying how much she loves him, and now she's on the view.
Then you don't know what wanting is.
Oh, don't I? A month ago, just about, I watched you coming out. Spanish Sttarrs. I was so excited. And so happy when you said to me, "Good, señor. The American Express."
I got you in Italian.
Because my mother comes from America doesn't make me less Italian. In this country, it's the night of God. You American women are much too emancipated.
If I weren't emancipated, would I have done what I did that day? Let you ask me to a cafe and buy me a coffee.
Several coffees. 3 hours. Why did you come with me?
You didn't look very wicked. I'm not an imaginative woman. It was you. It was wrong. And I'm a housewife from Philadelphia. So, why did you ask me?
Because when I saw you, I knew what morning was.
Last night I lay awake thinking. I thought about dying. Yes, I thought about that too. Then I thought of...
As the pair of them share their future thoughts, their life's picture, it appears as the viewer listens that they are so compatible, so understanding, so accepting, based on this huge desire that they have for each other. But one senses that it's just a matter of time before the departure, before the severance of their relationship. But it's all dramatised to a great extent. They have to move locations. They can't sit in this cafe because it's not open. So they're now sitting out with all the hundreds and hundreds of people waiting for trains in the thoroughfare. But it's as if that they are sort of just as two. Emotions are running high. Giovanni persuades her to go with him to his room to snatch a period of time that they're not going to experience again. She then gets sidetracked by a boy she knows in the railway station, and she uses it as an opportunity to perhaps avoid going to the room and say her goodbyes. She wants to be with him, but she can't handle it, and this provokes him. It's all a confusion of emotion, of desperation to be together. After separating due to that emotional charged reaction by Giovanni, no sooner he decides that that's that, she decides that they can't tread paths again, they become consumed with the idea that they want to see each other, and of course later, as Giovanni frustratingly runs about around the railway station's many platforms, he eventually spots her, and the emotion when they virtually come together after he manages to nearly lose his life crossing platforms in front of a train. They're so charged up that they retreat to a deserted railway cart, and it's clear from what the director is leading us to that they are going to embark physically, which of course went beyond the censor. The railway police finally go into the cart, and it's clear that the couple have indulged in intercourse, although we don't see anything. And Giovanni full of apologies to them for using the cart. As they walk together with the railway police, a visit to the station is in order. Possible charge for lewd behaviour. De Sica captures the essence of this naughty behaviour with faces in the crowd looking at the pair of them and putting two and two together, viewing them as having gone against the Catholic order. It's a creation of what people think may have taken place, and the fact that they have sort of breached acceptable behaviour. At the station we get this ridiculous scenario where Giovanni's pleading with them that Mary needs to get to her train, and they are insisting that a crime has taken place and that they must wait on the commissioner who's tied up on other business, so they have to wait. It looks like inevitably she's going to miss her train to Paris. The interview with the commandant commissioner, according what he will, lays out that the offence, although it's not actually said, needs to be dealt with by a judge at a later date. But he decides, because the Mary is married and has a child, that maybe they could skip it, although he doesn't say that. And there's this poignant question about the train. Would you like to catch your train? And a hesitancy from the reply, based on the fact that clearly emotionally she doesn't want to catch the train, but now she's in this dilemma. If she stayed, then she could be subject to this indictment, I suppose, for fornicating in public. But it reflects the time, of course, in the 50s. Then these things were a very serious matter, and it also reflects the emotional impact of what's been going on. The indictment is torn up. She is free. They are free to catch that train. Seeker once again uses the surroundings inside the train station to heighten the emotion, looking at the clock counting down, a bit like High Nude, but the separation here, as opposed to the conflict, the showdown, and that he's just got a few more minutes now, Giovanni, and that's it. He won't see her ever again.
You go back to Philadelphia?
I think so. You will see that host here at the university. Won't you, Giovanni? You live in the house that looks across the sea.
Hanno letto un libro per Parigi?
No room if you have it, please.
I don't think so, madam. But I'll have to ask the other conductor. Get breakfast on the train.
I only take a cup of coffee.
Maybe we'll get the tenant to bring you a cup of coffee.
Yes, I know.
I cannot give you a single, but another lady has consented to share a compartment with you, if you wish.
That's very kind.
Your passport, please. You better get on. The train is about to leave. It's compartment number 7, the next car. Thanks. Here, this is compartment 7, signora.
Thank you. Grazie. Prego.
I guess maybe I better be getting up.
It'll begin soon now. The wondering. All my life I wonder. Where is he? Where? Just this moment. Just now. What is he looking at? What is he thinking? Is he well? Is he in love? Is she beautiful?
Yes. She is beautiful. Oh, I'll never met her.
No.
Thank you.